Hello, hello, and Merry Christmas. It's almost Christmas. It's December 21st, evening of December 21st, Sunday evening, 2025. Now, I put on here, how do you get rid of a car payment? So that's what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to change the view here to a display with me up in the corner cam. Let's see if that works. Hopefully that's working. And this is a site called KSL, ksl.com. It is a site, the headquarters in Salt Lake City, Utah. There are cars for sale here and in surrounding states. There may not be some in your states, but this is worth your time because I'm going to teach you something very important here. And this is how to find a car that is going to last you that doesn't cost you a lot of money. So they have classified ads on KSL. They also have a car section. And you can go to Craigslist, different places out there, and you can find cars. But here is a really good place to do some research. So in doing research, let's look at cars that went a long ways. When we look at mileage, let's see which cars had a habit of going over 300,000 miles. So I'm going to look here at cars that went between 3 and 400,000 miles. And look at that, 185 cars. But we don't want these real expensive things either, because if you're going to get rid of a car that's got a payment and you get a car that doesn't have a payment, you're probably going to need something you can afford. Let's say like I want to see which cars cost less than $3,000, but they went over 300,000 miles. And so this says 0 to 3,000. It's got 3 to 400,000 miles on. There were 58 vehicles. And let's go a little cheaper because we're trying to find the cars not that necessarily maybe we can afford 3,000, but let's just see the cars that cost less than that. Let's say that cost under 200 or $2,000 and that they went over 300,000 miles. Well, there's 35 of those. That's a number that we can really look at and see what those cars are that had a habit of doing that. So when we look at these, let's pay attention here. Here's a Subaru Outback, okay, over 300,000. Here's a Honda Odyssey. Here's a Honda Accord. Here is a Ford Expedition, a Chevy Malibu, a Toyota Avalon, a Ford Ranger, a Honda Element, Chevy Impala, a Dodge Caravan, a Subaru Outback, Ford Expedition, another Dodge Ram, Dodge Neon, Cadillac. And I've been looking at these, so some of these are going to sound more familiar to me. Maybe I'll mix it up with what I was looking at before. Here's another Ford Explorer, Dodge Caravan, Ford F-150 pickup, a Honda Accord, Chevy Silverado, Nissan Pathfinder. Here's a Honda Odyssey, Nissan Sentra, another Toyota Avalon, Toyota Camry, Nissan truck, Volkswagen Jetta. Okay, Toyota Camry, Ford Expedition. Here's another Jetta. Okay, Toyota Sienna. I've seen a lot of those that went over 300,000. Honda Accord, a lot of them. Ford Taurus, there are some. Dodge Rams. A lot of these big pickups have gone over 300,000 miles, but you may not be looking for a pickup, or you might be. And when you realize how much new pickups cost, unless you have a lot of money, I wouldn't be buying a new pickup. I wouldn't buy one that's a few years old. I'd buy one that's quite old. I drive a 92 Chevy pickup that I bought for $1,500 17 years ago, and it's only got 150,000 miles on it now. Needless to say, I haven't driven it a lot. Had 115,000 when I bought it. If I paid for some repairs, of course. Over 17 years, you bet I've paid some repairs. Here's a Toyota 4Runner. So that gives us an idea. And what I want to bring to your attention is that maybe one of those cars is familiar to you. Maybe there's one of those that you've had before, or you know someone that's owned one of these that is appealing to you. Maybe you like a Toyota Avalon. We saw a couple of Jettas. Let's look at the Volkswagen Jettas and see how many of these Volkswagens, especially those Jettas, how many of those have gone a lot of miles. So let's just get rid of this stuff here for a minute. We'll keep the 300 to 400,000. We'll keep the Volkswagen in there. Look at that. There's 5 Volkswagens that have gone over 300,000 miles. I don't have a price in here right now. I mean, up to 200,000. But this is important to know because, like, Volkswagen Jetta, Volkswagen Jetta. Here's another Jetta and another Jetta. There's 4 Jettas, and those aren't always real expensive cars. 4 Volkswagen Jettas that have gone over 300,000 miles. Hey, James, I'll call you back. I'm making a video right now. Thank you for calling me back. Bye-bye. James is a great guy. He helps me sometimes with computers. Don't talk to him that often, but what a wonderful guy. Christian guy. And yeah, I think the world of him. Anyhow, so here's 4 Jettas that have gone over 300,000 miles. That's a really good sign. So what if we take the mileage out now and we say, okay, we want to see these Jettas. Here's a Jetta, Jetta GL. And how many of these are for sale right now? Well, let's see. 598 results. Well, there's a lot of Jettas for sale. How many of those Jettas are under $3,000? Okay. Let's take a look. Holy smokes. There's 21 Jettas under $3,000. And we already know a few of those went over 300,000. But what about those that don't have that much mileage on them? Holy smokes, look at this. Now that's old. That's a 1980 Jetta with only 150,000 miles on it. Here's a 210 Jetta that's got 238. It's only $2,400. Here's another one. It's only got 189,000 miles on it. Again, this is only $1,500. And here's another one, 2,200, 29, 700. Unless you're a mechanic, I'd probably stay away from something that cheap. So let's put in a minimum amount. Let's say we don't want anything that's under 1,500 bucks, okay? Just because, and maybe you can't afford 3,000. Maybe you can only afford $2,500. So let's narrow that down a little bit and see how many of those are. There's 11 of them, okay? 11 of those, and we're talking about Jettas that have a reputation of lasting, that have under 200,000 miles, and they're only between $1,500 and $2,500. Holy smokes! Well, let's take a look at these. There's 11 of them, and see which of these might be appealing to us. God, there's a white one right there. That's in Rexburg, Idaho. Okay, that's too far away. So what I'm going to do, since I can actually do this, I want to see the ones that are nearby where I'm at. And on this site, well, and I don't want to do too much of that. I really wanted you to be able to do research here. But if I'm looking at these, I can say, okay, which of these are most appealing to me? And I just saw something that really caught my attention. This Volkswagen Jetta, for whatever reason, only has 93,000 miles on. Maybe I only want something that has a clean title. And that's one of the things that you can look at on this and see if something has a title. Here we go, title type. And let's say I don't want a salvage title. I want something that only has a clean title. There were 11 of those. And how many are there now? Now there's only 9. So that just got rid of stuff that had a bad title. Is our car with Jetta with 93,000 still here? Nope. I guess that probably had a rebuilt title. No, there it is. Oh my goodness. In Price, Utah. Holy smokes. $2,500, a 2002 Jetta that only costs $2,500. And these are cars that frequently go over lots over 250, often over 300,000 miles. What is the deal on this? And let's see, mechanic special. Okay, that has something wrong with it. I'm not a mechanic. I don't want a mechanic special. So I'm going to X that one out, and I'm going to go back here. And there's something else that I can look at that is really interesting on the condition. There's appearance. And if you're looking to save money and get something that's going to last you a long time, you might be a little less concerned about the appearance. Does that make sense? But you might, let's say that you've got babies or hope to have babies, right? Um, you might want to make sure that it has at least 4 doors. All right. So you can say, okay, I want that to have 4 doors, maybe even five, and that way we know we've got cars that can you can put a baby seat in the back seat, right? Well, let's see. There are still 8 cars here. This one only has 150,000 miles on it. That's in Magna. That's just in the next county. And let's see. Let's look at these. There's the one with 93 that we're not gonna mess with that because we already know it has a title issue. If that is the one that I think had the title issue, or not, yeah, down in price. I don't want to be looking at that one again. But look at these others, under $2,500. And here's a white one. That means I like whites because then the clear coat, when it goes, it doesn't look that bad because those often turn white when they go. I really like this, but that's in Rexburg. That's farther away than I want to look. This one has 300,000 miles. Definitely don't want that. I don't because I don't think it's going to go a whole lot farther. It might go a bit farther and it might not. There's one in Roy, Utah, Hyde Park. This one in Magna, that one's catching my attention because it's only 2,100. And this one here in Bluffdale, those are both less than an hour away. And let's see, this is a 1980. That's older than I want. This 2004 really catches my attention. What I would do here is I would look up the person. I'm not going to click on their number and have you all see what it is, but the fact of the matter is that's only 2,200 bucks. Really good chance if you offered them 2,000 cash, they'd probably take it if they're asking 2,200. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Let's look at the pictures on this. And okay, well the outside it doesn't look bad at all. And that back tire doesn't look bad. The tire on there. I wonder if he's going to show us some pictures of the inside. Most of these cars are automatics. And look at that. It's got cloth seats. I like the cloth gray seats. Most of these cars, they last a long time. You don't have ripped leather. And these days, a lot of these things will last a long time. Well, there's some details on that. Let's see what it says. Selling this Jetta runs and drives great with no issues. Wow. Passed the emissions and is ready to go. Everything works. Heat, nice, aftermarket radio. The AC, it says everything works. AC, heat. Yeah. This time of year when it's cold, I'd make sure and ask him if that air conditioning works. You may not be concerned about it right now, but if you will be in the summertime if that air conditioning doesn't work and you're used to having a car that drives with air conditioning, which most of us here in America are used to, right? We're a small family that charges no fees. Oh, a small family dealer that charges no fees. Wow. Man, that really sounds like a great car. Can't believe it. There's a car for around 2,000 bucks plus some tax and licensing, right? For 2,000 bucks. And guess what? There is a really good chance where this only has, how many miles did we say this thing had on it? Specifications. This only has 177,000 miles on it. Guess what? If I was looking for a car, I'd be probably calling on this car and maybe consider test driving it. That's just a Jetta. I've got a Camry. Camrys have a habit of going 300,000 miles, 250, 300, 350,000 miles. We bought a Camry about 9 years ago for $2,100. It is still running strong. Had a thermostat go twice actually, and it ran out of water. Guess what? New thermostat, the doggone thing still runs like a top, and yet it's had two thermostats gone, ran out of water twice. Um, Unbelievable, but it still goes great. We've put over 50,000 miles on it the last number of years. A lot less than a lot of people are putting on, no doubt about it. Do I pay for new tires? Do I pay for brakes? Yes, I do. Do I pay for a few other things? Yep, I do. And I go down to Walmart to get my oil changed. They take too long. And get my oil changed regularly on my car. The point is, we haven't paid interest on the money on any of the cars that we've purchased over the last many years. I haven't borrowed any money on a car for 40 years. I only borrowed $1,000. And so there are people my age that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on cars. And some of them have, there's people that have spent over $100,000 just on interest on their car payments. And some of them have spent a lot more than that. I haven't. I haven't spent, in 40 years, I don't think let's see, I paid off that loan really quick, the one for $1,000. I haven't spent any money on interest. I haven't had car payments. When my cars break down, when I lose an engine or a transmission, I sell the car to a mechanic, whoever will pay the most for it, usually just for a couple $100, whatever, a few $100s, and I buy another car. I personally am not a mechanic. I don't want to buy a car that has a rebuilt engine or rebuilt transmission. I figure if someone's really rebuilt an engine or rebuilt a transmission and had it done right, it probably costs them enough money that they may not want to get rid of that car. And if a mechanic's done it, you know, you can determine whether or not you trust the mechanic on it. If he'll put a warranty, if he's the one that rebuilt the engine or transmission, have him give you a warranty for so long, because if he won't give it to you, I wouldn't buy the car. And anyhow, get rid of your car payments. It is not worth it to have all that stress. And, I've always got money to be able to purchase another car, and I really haven't had to do it much lately. I've, you know, actually been in a position where I could give away a couple of cars that people needed. And because they needed a car and I had an extra one, I knew I could get another one inexpensively, for a few $1,000s. And so, help others out, live within your means, and I hope you can all have a good Christmas. And I hope this is helpful. Please give it a like if you like this, if this has been helpful to you, and put some notes in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you will, and hopefully I'll put some more videos out there that'll be helpful to you. So, this is Rod, and have a Merry Christmas, live within your means, and have a wonderful day.